Good evening. Is this on? Raise your hand in the back. Up here now. Okay. So it's 6:10. We usually start on time, but I noticed that everybody was having so much fun. I wanted to let it continue. It's like a family reunion or something, which just always makes me feel good about our amazing, wonderful city. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome. Let's call this commission meeting to order and have a roll call.
Mayor Weinberg. Mayor Weinberg.
Here.
Commissioner Bloom.
Here.
Commissioner Friedland.
Here.
Commissioner Joel.
Here.
Commissioner Cruz.
Here.
Commissioner Dr. Marks.
Here.
Commissioner Stern.
Here.
Mr. Wasson.
Here.
And Mr. Myers. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Let me just mention that all of the moms on the commission received beautiful flowers, thanks to the clerk. It's for Mother's Day. I want to wish all the moms a happy Mother's Day. It's coming up on Sunday. Does anyone want to show their flowers? Oh, and wonderful, show your bumblebees, handmade by the clerk's daughter. This is okay, and also I do want to mention, just make note of the passing of former Senator and Governor Bob Graham. And he did great things for the state of Florida. If you notice the flags at half-mast, that's because of the passing of Governor Graham, but a real legend here in the state of Florida. Okay, with that, I'm going to ask former Commissioner Luz Weinberg, former Mayor Enid Weissman, and Police Chief Michael Bentalila to come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. All those who can, please stand. Come on, you don't get away with that. You got to come up here. Enid, Luz, Michael.
Everybody place your hand above your heart. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We're at item 3, and every 6 months we rotate and have another vice mayor. There was a smoke-filled room, a lot of horseplay, horse trading, and we eventually reached, I think, a decision that Commissioner Dr. Linda Marks will be our next vice mayor. Great job. I want to thank now former Vice Mayor Cruz. Fantastic administration. The last 6 months have been spectacular. You did a great job. Thank you. Okay. Any additions or deletions, Mr. Manager, in the agenda?
Not at this time, Mayor.
Okay. So moving on to item 5, we are very fortunate tonight. You may or may not know that in our district, and let's see, I don't see him. Oh, yes, I do. In our district, we are blessed. We have a state senator who is probably the hardest working guy in Tallahassee. He may be the hardest working guy in Miami-Dade also, but he is a fantastic advocate for us. He comes here all the time for our condominium updates on what's happening in Tallahassee that impacts us directly. When he speaks, he hands out his cell phone number for any voters. This is his real cell phone, not the fake one. And his staff is nonstop. And he's here tonight to give us an update as well. So I want to recognize and welcome Senator Jason Pizzo.
Good evening, Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, and Commission. I started the day very early this morning with a tie on. I apologize, but my staff insisted I get a haircut, and I think I left the tie there. It is wonderful, as always, to be here. I represent, as you know, 20 cities, 565,000 constituents, which swells up to well over 1 million in the high season. But this is always a wonderful springboard for any piece of policy or legislation that we're passing or considering, and Aventura has a special place in my heart in no short order because of Enid Wiseman. And go ahead and clap. Who is looking so fit? She looks like Jennifer Aniston. Okay. Couple things. It was a rather, a relatively, comparatively muted session as it relates to socially divisive issues. We coalesced in a nonpartisan or bipartisan fashion on a number of good things, and we killed a number of bad things, beginning with what I anticipate to be an upcoming veto on short-term rentals. I anticipate the governor is going to veto that. That's SB 280. Yesterday, the governor signed into law a bill that I think everyone's pleased with, except for my kids. I passed a bill as it relates to street takeovers, which if you don't know what they are, just Google them. They're incredibly dangerous. Kids are getting killed. My kids are upset, but it gives a lot more tools to law enforcement. No longer do you have the misdemeanor presence requirement of having to be there at the scene. All you got to do is check out someone's Instagram, get their license plate, and go get it. And go get everybody that are there. Funding-wise, also keeping with that theme, we were able to secure, pending the governor either vetoing or signing the budget into law, $750,000 for first responders in the 911 communication center, as well as $100,000 for the Aventura Police Emergency Response Radio replacement and conversion. Seated to the front of your officers is our newest member of our staff, Joanne Alvarez, who is a 35-year 911 operator. So our office deals a lot with air traffic control as it relates to a number of issues, and no better person to have at the helm. So this session was also the 22nd or 23rd bill that I passed. You know that we dwell within a hyper-polarized atmosphere to a large extent, but a lot of good stuff. And of course, the very first kicking off point at post-session was right here in Aventura as it relates to condos. It is principally a bill I filed 5 years ago, prior to the loss of 98 lives in Surfside. But of course, people, and especially politicians, to be honest with you, take things seriously after there's a tragedy, unfortunately. It takes that as the catalyst. Should I be blessed to be back in Tallahassee next year, the incoming Senate Minority Leader. A number of you have met the incoming Senate President when you were in Tallahassee, and we brought him down here last year as well. And this looks to be what I think should be a Goldilocks period as it relates to our ability in South Florida to get a number of infrastructure projects, again, to be even less socially divisive, with no national sort of scope or focus on anyone else's ambition. So we should do very well over the next couple of years. And obviously, Aventura being close to our heart and to our staff, who just likes coming here. Can't say that for every city, unfortunately. We should have a very good situation. There are a number of bills that were proposed. You know, there's over 2,000 each session. We only have 60 days crammed in. And we hear and pass. I'm sorry, Charlotte. Charlotte, I'm sorry. Charlotte, hi. So we pass, I'm available for birthday parties as well as, but we passed a couple hundred. As many of you know, I read all of them, so we're not unfairly surprised at any moment. There were a number of really, really bad proposals that come from think tanks and interest groups that have the ear of particular individuals who maybe cut a PAC check, whatever, and get some idea sent forward. But a number of bad ones, but we killed a lot. We killed the preservation of Confederate monuments. What did pass was an encampment requirement for cities of a particular size in a particular size county, that is Broward and Miami-Dade cities, to treat homelessness by having to set up a required encampment. Another think tank kind of idea that will never apply to the actual bill sponsor of concern. The bulk of the 160 legislators, I'm proud to say, candidly, 157 stand strong with Israel. And it was important this session, following October 7th, to be mindful and to be very public about our position as a whole, crossing all racial, ethnic, socioeconomic, and geographic boundaries. We'll continue to obviously face those challenges you do with your kids, we know, and we see with your grandkids as well on college campuses. But Florida really has zero tolerance for any rioting and for any violence and hate. But there's much more to do. There's much more to do as it relates to security for private school funding as well. I'm a proponent of public schools, and I think it's a wonderful institution. But at the same time, we need to appreciate and realize the reality of the current landscape. And I would be hypocritical if I said that every student needs to be protected wherever they are. We are woefully inadequately underfunded in a number of areas as it relates to that. We carry and boast and beat our chest about huge multi-billion-dollar surpluses, and yet we are very lean and anemic as it relates to the funding of some necessary silos going forward. I'm happy to take any questions. A couple hundred bills passed. The governor's still receiving them, and they're trickling in. A little bit of leverage as it relates to not signing the budget yet. Particular issues. We may have a special session this June, probably related to property insurance, although there's no magic bullet yet because the political will is just not there to pass real meaningful reform without eschewing the interests of special interest. That's just a reality. As each year passes, although I continue to be wonderfully enthused and excited for the future and being able to do a number of things, I'm equally compounded by the realities of this is not the greatest generation. And what I mean by that is it's just not. We have a number of headwinds as it relates to the 4 8-year terms of politicians and their lack of political will to do the things that will last 15 and 50 years from now. It just doesn't exist. That's why it's a breath of fresh air to be in a place like this. Billy's just told me, I thought he was 8 years younger than Biden. He's actually 7 years older. But it's the ethos, it's the zeitgeist of a particular area, and it's leaving it better than you found it and establishing a legacy, which really just doesn't exist in large parts of the state and certainly not with their elected representatives. So that's the greatest headwind that we face, and that relates to things like septic to sewer conversion and sanitary sewer. We have wonderful, beautiful, topical landscapes, but they're still flushing their toilets into 65-year-old broken clay pipes. And we need to do something about it. Or be honest with ourselves that we have no intention of doing anything about it. But those are the things that I'll continue. They're not sexy, they're expensive, they're tough love measures like the condo bill, but those are things I'll continue to work with so I can sleep at night. I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions or comments from any commissioners for the senator?
If they're not, I have a very lighthearted question. I'm dying to know, were you relieved of jury duty or were you picked?
I was kept till the very end yesterday, and I think both sides pretended not to know who I was, even though they had a questionnaire. And then there was some discussion about a particular aspect of the law, and then the judge referred to me as Senator Pizzo. So I think they knew. I was released very late in the day, but I'm like 0 for 7. But someday I'll get to serve on a jury. I was a former prosecutor, so they don't really let me on jury panels. Have you ever been selected for a jury panel? No, right?
It's kept very late in the day and then I was.
Yeah.
I don't think any lawyers would ever be selected for jury duty. I got thrown out early when I was down there, but back in the day, we were exempt as members of the bar, but I don't know why it changed, but it shouldn't have, because no one's going to choose us anyway. Any other comments?
I'll say. So, Senator Pizzo, thank you for doing an outstanding job in representing, which is actually what elected officials are supposed to do, not just grandstand. My question to you is, as Senate Minority Leader, what will be your top priorities?
The number one priority for me is infrastructure. I am not a Florida native. I hail from an area where we started with a pick and shovel, and we were blessed and able to build thousands of units and still own and hold those up in the Northeast. But my father used to joke that he'll never see a dime from them, and maybe his grandkids will start collecting checks. And what he meant by that was these things were supposed to last for generations, and that just isn't the idea in Florida at all. But there's got to be at least a few of us. We can't all just sort of throw our hands up and give up from the state level. So infrastructure will be number one. Quality of life for me as a number two includes security. we see things in headlines on TV as it relates to certain groups and interests and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I don't have a single community, black, white, Hispanic, rich, poor, inland, or coastal, that doesn't want safe streets. And they're just not. And while people, claim that we're at a 50-year crime low, we're not at a 50-year crime low for violent crime. We're just not. That's just the reality of it. We are for petty offenses, for certain fraudulent activities and all that, but not for homicide, not for home invasion, not for carjacking. And in particular, that Aventura serves as a throughway to a number of violent felonious activity that happens either north in Broward or coming south. And your officers do an excellent job, obviously, of and I say obviously because they pull my kids over all the time here in Aventura, of ferreting out crime before it happens. And then honestly, this was the 23rd bill this session that I passed with somebody else's name on it. And I think you know what I mean. We're in a hyper-polarized atmosphere, so I file a bill, and a year or two later, somebody else files the same bill with their name on it, but because they're from the other side of the aisle in the majority, it gets passed. Everyone makes a joke. Hey, Pizzo, didn't you have something like this? But one in particular is the Blue Ocean Economy bill to really take advantage of the resources that we have and to put back and just leave it as nice as we found it, if not better. So it's infrastructure, it's the environment, and it's really quality of life. I work for everyone, unfortunately, I have my back to. I work for you guys. Doesn't pay anything, but good healthcare though. But this is what I signed up for, and I did it eyes wide open. And then finally, I called it a Goldilocks period before, and I've said that. I said it on the news last week, and we reject more interviews than we actually give. I'm going to be doing a few tonight and tomorrow. And the reality is I just want to be sort of less divisive. There's a 4-minute clip at the beginning of a TV show called Newsroom. It's with Jeff Daniels. And it talks about how America is not the greatest country in the world anymore. Not that I agree with that position, but just what he just goes through about what we spend money and time on, about how we define ourselves, not by who we voted for in the last election, but who we were, and a time we were able to do great things and not be so skeptical of each other. You can't introduce yourself to somebody without the second or third question getting into something that's incredibly divisive. Our kids, I'll leave you with this, and I don't know how to manufacture this or officiate it legislatively, but the greatest problem I saw, and one of the reasons why I ran for office, and Eden knows this, I knew every single neighbor growing up. I knew 15 houses one way, 30 houses the other. I could be 5 miles from home and people still knew. And when a mother would say, I'm going to tell your mother, it meant it as a sign of affection, as a sign of community and neighborhood. Kids today are chronically online. They don't make eye contact. They don't shake hands. They don't introduce themselves. And they're incredibly passionate and amped up to go march on Washington somewhere about something, but they cannot connect with their next door neighbor. And I handled all the shootings and homicides of children in Miami-Dade County. I started the gun violence division. And all of it was because things that would otherwise be resolved on a playground are now resolved digitally, where you can be super digitally, socially media tough, and then the confrontation becomes a powder keg and becomes incredibly violent. We are just not engaging with one another. We cross the street when we see particular people. We don't make eye contact, and it's sort of trickling over also into adults. And so I don't know how to manufacture that from a legislative perspective, but we just need to do a better job, and I'm trying to do that as a dad as well.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank
And
you.
I know that in this age of such high political polarization, we need more bridge builders like you that don't care about the personal accolades, but just getting things done. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Hey. Thank you so much, Senator. And by the way, this big screen up here, we put this up so that you don't have your back to everyone anymore. So don't worry about it. I just want to say thank you. Several of us were up in Tallahassee during session, trying to bring home appropriations for our taxpayers, and your office, as always, is very helpful. We actually did very well, subject to, of course, the governor not vetoing and not redlining our appropriations, but we had a good year where all we ever want is our fair share of tax dollars to come back to our city. And, we always have a big help and always a place to go hang our hat in your office, and we very much appreciate it. Okay, we've got a lot of special presentations tonight. I'm going to go a little bit out of order to shrink the list a little bit. I want to ask if the manager will hand out the certificates of appointment. We've reappointed members of the Arts and Cultural Center Advisory Board, and I think at least 3 of them are here this evening. Becky, is Becky here? Edna? And I know that Judith is here. Judith Weinberg, come on up. Becky, Edna, Judith, there's Joyce, Lisa, Meredy, Judy, Rita. You can take for whoever you want, but we appreciate the service.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Anyone else here from Arts and Cultural? Okay. Thank you for representing. Okay. Some proclamations. And you may or may not know that those of you that enjoy activities on the water, this is National Safe Boating Week. That is a fact. And we're honored here to have couple of members of the United States Coast Guard. Thank you for your service. Vice Commander Natalie Bunting, U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary District 7 and Division 3, and Coast Guard Auxiliarist Amanda Mitchell. Ladies, thank you for being here. I'm going to read this proclamation, and then I would ask that you come up here, and we're going to take a nice picture with the elected officials. But I do want to say, being born and raised in Connecticut, where the Coast Guard Academy is located, and the Eagle Clipper ship, the training ship, I appreciate you. And the Coast Guard is one of the branches of our military. It's the one that people think the least about, but your mission is very, very, very important, and it's great that you're here. So, whereas numerous residents and tourists participate in exercise and recreation in the waterways throughout Aventura, whereas the sport of recreational boating can become dangerous when boaters or passengers fail to practice safe boating techniques, whereas approximately 650 people in the U.S. lose their lives each year in boating-related accidents. It's estimated that 75% of those lives could be saved just by wearing a life jacket. Whereas National Safe Boating Week is observed to bring attention to important life-saving tips for recreational boaters to provide a safer, more fun experience out on the water throughout the year. And whereas the City of Aventura supports efforts to encourage boaters and passengers to wear life jackets and to take boating safety courses to gain knowledge and skills to reduce human error while operating a boat. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Howard Weinberg, as mayor, and on behalf of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, do hereby proclaim May 18th, 2024 through May 24th, 2024, so it's not yet, it's coming, as National Safe Boating Week in the City of Aventura. Please. And if either of you wishes to say anything, you may, otherwise you'll just come right up here. But if you want to speak, just take that microphone, make sure it's green, push the button.
Push the button, okay. Sorry, I want to pick it up. We're honored to be here. Thank you very much, Mayor and Vice Mayor and Commissioners. Thank you very much for having us here. National Safe Boating Week is celebrated nationally. It's always the week leading up to Memorial Day weekend, because Memorial Day weekend is the kickoff of the boating season. And everything you read there, Mayor, is 100% accurate. It's a sad fact that Florida has the leading number of boating accidents in the country and a leading number of boating-related deaths. So it's our mission, our goal to use this week and the whole year actually to promote boating safety, to educate the public. We offer classes all year long, boating safety classes. We do vessel examinations. There's all kinds of tips that we can give to boaters, but the biggest thing is that we encourage everyone to wear their life vest. And 75% of the deaths are drownings, and 85% of those that drowned were not wearing a life jacket, and 2/3 of them were swimmers. It's not that they didn't know how to swim. People would be surprised to learn that the paddlecraft community, kayaks, paddleboards, and canoes make up the number 2 leading cause of boating-related deaths, and it's because most of those individuals are not wearing life vests. They have them on their kayak or their canoe, and they think that they can easily get to them if they fall off the boat and capsize, and they're not able to do that. So we do encourage everyone to wear life vests, and we thank you very much for supporting our efforts to promote National Safe Boating Week.
Thank you so much. Come on up. Okay, we're not done yet with proclamations. This one is pretty near and dear to the hearts of everyone sitting up here. It is actually, you may not know this, but we are currently in the middle of Municipal Clerks Week. Yes, a big one, Municipal Clerks Week. We are blessed. One thing you definitely should know, we are blessed with the best city clerk of any city. She is amazing, and she keeps us all on track and unbelievably efficient and organized. I'm going to ask our new vice mayor to read the proclamation.
Whereas the office of the municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world and is the oldest among public servants. And whereas the office of the municipal clerk provides a professional link between citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. And whereas municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. And whereas municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the municipal clerk through participation in educational programs and professional organizations. As soon as he's done talking, it's your turn.
Oh, I missed my mark. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Howard Weinberg, as mayor and on behalf of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, do hereby proclaim May 5th through May 11th as Municipal Clerks Week. Wow. And Elisa, if you will come up here. And I hereby order the schools to be closed for that.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank Mayor Weinberg and the entire commission. You make my life easy to work for such a wonderful group. I'd also like to thank Arlene Yanis, who's hiding in the back there. She's the one who helps keep our timers set and everything. She was actually similar to Senator Pizzo. She has been going through the jury selection process for the past 3 days, so I'm happy to finally have her back tonight. Arlene, if you want to step out and say hi to everybody. And Jay Smith also helps my department shine, so thank you to both of you also.
There's Arlene in the back. Jay, raise your hand, Jay. Raise your hand, Jay. Yes, very great. Thank you. Okay, so if you think we're done, you would be wrong. We have another proclamation. We have a new judge that we're very proud of, Judge Azar, and I'm going to ask Commissioner Friedland to read this proclamation as a member of the bar.
So before I read this, I do want to say thank you to Judge Azar for stepping up and serving. We serve in a different capacity, but our judges are so important and so significant. Last week, I was at the North Dade Justice Center for Law Week, and it was an honor to see the judges speak to the members of the community. And I think it's, as a member of the bar who goes into court, mainly family court, but litigation all the time, it is so important for her to have a smart, intelligent, caring, and informed judges. So thank you for stepping up. Give me 1 second. Whereas Jennifer L.H. Azar is a resident of the city of Aventura, member of the first graduating class of Dr. Michael M. Kropp Senior High School, and a graduate of Northwestern University and the University School of Law, University of Miami School of Law. Whereas Jennifer L.H. Azar has devoted the majority of her career to public service, having served as an assistant state attorney, a federal law clerk to the United States District Judge Jose Martinez, and as assistant county attorney for Miami-Dade County, as well as serving as an adjunct professor and mentor at the University of Miami School of Law. And whereas in February 2024, Governor Ron DeSantis appointed now Judge Jennifer L.H. Azar to the Miami-Dade County Court to preside over criminal misdemeanor cases. And whereas the City of Aventura would like to recognize Judge Jennifer L.H. Azar for her recent accomplishment and for her commitment to making a difference in our judicial system and giving back in positive ways.
Now therefore be it resolved that I, Howard Weinberg, as mayor and on behalf of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, do hereby proclaim May 7th, 2024 as Judge Jennifer L.H. Azar Day in the City of Aventura. Congratulations. Congratulations. Please, please.
I came prepared just in case I had the opportunity to thank the commission and Mayor Weinberg. I brought a couple people with me. This is just the immediate family. So the investiture, hopefully you'll all be able to attend, and we'll need definitely a bigger courthouse. But I'd like to thank the City of Aventura, Mayor Weinberg, our commissioners, and my high school principal, former Mayor Weissman. I wouldn't have been able to do this without the support and encouragement from my family, particularly my husband, Nadio. Thank you. I'd also like to thank our governor, the general counsel's office, for entrusting me with the position of Miami-Dade County Court Judge. I recognize that this is a tremendous responsibility, and I am devoted to upholding the rule of law and the principles set forth in our Constitution. Lastly, I'd like to point out that all of my achievements in life stem from the extraordinary education that I received under Ms. Weissman's inaugural team of outstanding educators at Michael Kropp Senior High, which is why as soon as I was appointed, I reached out to her to thank her for everything she did to ensure that her students went out into the world armed with the principles that I was raised with and the principles that were then reiterated in my schooling: hard work, integrity, honesty, and a commitment to public service. So I deeply appreciate your honoring me with this proclamation, and I thank you all very much for this recognition.
So I would like, first of all, very good use of both principles. Very, very clever.
A-L and L-E.
Your written opinions are going to be very, very good
Thank you.
from the bench. So I want you to bring up anyone you came with, and of course, your former principal and former Vice Mayor Enid Weissman. Please join the judge and her family. Did I say vice? Oh, I'm so sorry. We're appointing new vice mayors. Former mayor, my predecessor, Enid Weissman, who I had the privilege to serve with for 6 years,
Thank you.
and the first principal of Kropp.
Yes. and-
Please come up with the
Yes.
family.
Thank you.
okay. That was really so nice because, quite frankly, you see what makes Aventura the city of excellence. It's like a family. It's so wonderful. You have your principal here, you have your family here, now you're a judge. We're all going to get our tickets dismissed. I mean, it's just so wonderful, really. Right, we're going to get out of jury duty. I really appreciate it. So we're not done, and especially given the events worldwide on and after October 7th, it's more significant than ever that this is Jewish American Heritage Month. So we have a proclamation, and we have, we're going to present it as a representative. We're going to present it to Stephen Scheck, the incoming chair of the Jewish Community Relations Council of Greater Miami, and I believe the vice chair of the Anti-Defamation League as well. And I'm going to read this, and then Stephen's going to speak and come up. Whereas the city of Aventura has been positively influenced by the Jewish immigrants to America, who have played a central role in the creation, growth, freedom, prosperity, and strength of the United States of America. And whereas our city of excellence is home to a significant Jewish American population that has helped to define America's character and values through the infinite value of every human life and the importance of education in the lives of children. And whereas the state of Israel is now celebrating the 76th anniversary of its modern founding and its emergence over the last few decades as a beacon of freedom and prosperity, and a world leader in technology, agriculture, water conservation, medicine, and all manner of innovation. And whereas the city of Aventura would like to recognize Jewish American Heritage Month in support of the efforts to increase awareness of the significant contributions of all Jewish Americans, now therefore be it resolved that I, Howard Weinberg, as mayor, and on behalf of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, do hereby proclaim May 2024 as Jewish American Heritage Month. Stephen, why don't you come up and say a few words?
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. As you all know, on October 7th, which is actually 7 months ago today, our lives were turned upside down. And I think it is very important for us as Jews, especially in the city of Aventura. We almost have a minyan up here, which is nice, to really appreciate everything that Jews, not just in Aventura, in Florida, but also the United States and the world, have contributed, to the world. As the incoming chair of the Jewish Community Relations Council, but also the vice chair of ADL Florida, to understand what's been going on. So in 2023, there's a 140% increase in anti-Semitic incidents over 2022, which was over 100% increase over 2021. Since October 7th, there were over 5,000 incidents of anti-Semitism in the United States, which is more than the last 3 years combined. And that really just doesn't go into what's been going on our college campuses. I have 2 kids in college, and so it's a very scary thing. I just came from University of Michigan for my niece's graduation, and it was pretty scary there as well. And so I think it is important for all of us to stand together, not just for Israel, but for also Jews worldwide who are going through this. And this too will end. Israel will still be here. We have faith, and we just hope that it will be soon. So we appreciate everything that the city of Aventura does, and appreciate the honor. And since today's the 7th, it should bleed into the next month. We should get credit for the first week of June as well. So we hope we can make that happen. So thank you.
So ordered.
So ordered. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on up. And I would be remiss if I didn't recognize two things. One, come on up. The first thing I want to recognize is I want to say thank you to the contributions your family makes to our community. Your family literally is Aventura royalty, and I just want to say thank you for that. The second thing is I want everyone to know that on May 24th at 10 a.m., here in this room and out front, we, the people of Aventura, will be presenting our ambulance that we purchased as a city. The people of Aventura will be presenting our ambulance to our sister city, Modi'in, in Israel. Their mayor will be here. It will be a fantastic. Magan David Adam, the three words that I cannot say properly. We purchased the ambulance through them. It's been completely outfitted. It will say, from the people of Aventura to the people of Israel. And that's going to be on May 24th. I hope the Sheck family will be there too.
I just also want to say thank you to Stephen Sheck. He's another example of one of our local homeboy, raised kids. Go Chargers, NMB, before Crop was built. Go Chargers.
Okay, so now that we're on this theme, the other night I had the privilege to speak at our Performing Arts Center, our cultural center, for Holocaust Remembrance Day. And Zippy Holland was there to speak, a Holocaust survivor, remarkable woman, remarkable story, and we felt that it was important to recognize her, but really I give the credit to Commissioner Paul Cruz, and I would like him to take over from here.
Thank you. It's my honor to do this presentation. My mom, of blessed memory, was a Holocaust survivor, and actually, I found out, spent most of the war in the same place Zippy did in Siberia, and was one of the few lucky ones that was able to survive as well. And we are very lucky in this community, in Aventura and in this community, that we have one of the largest communities that has Holocaust survivors. At some of our synagogues here in our community, I'm blessed to see them a lot that come to my restaurant. And unfortunately, every year that goes by, we have less and less. They are truly an inspiration and heroes to all of us. We're talking about October 7th, and I put myself in the shoes of these survivors and say, what must they be thinking, seeing after what they went through, to see another small Holocaust excuse me, that happened again. But as with the state of Israel, we, the Jewish people, and people of good faith all over the world, will not be unbowed. We will be resilient. We will continue to fight, and we will continue to be a light unto the nations. So, as Mayor Weinberg was saying, we were blessed to have Zippy as honoree and a speaker at the Aventura Arts and Cultural Center, and we were also very blessed to have our Jewish Student Union leading the charge as well. And we have the president of the Don Sofer Aventura High School here, Ethan Bazak, who was there and who interviewed Tzipi as well as Ariel, who's the president of JSU. And the good news is, as many challenges as we have, we should all feel very secure and comfortable that we have an upcoming generation of leaders that are ready to take the mantle and to lead us into the future stronger and better than ever. But it is because of the wisdom, the courage of people like Tzipi Holland that make it all possible. You truly are an inspiration to us, Tzipi. So with that in mind, and in commemoration of Holocaust Remembrance Day, Yom HaShoah, we want to give you the certificate of appreciation presented to Tzipi Holland in recognition of your courage, resilience, and dedication to ensuring that future generations never forget the horrors of the Holocaust. From the City Commission of the City of Aventura, recognizing your commitment, and with our deepest thank you, appreciation, and love.
Come on up.
Please, it's not necessary. I can talk for hours, I'm speechless. Paul, thank you so much, what you're doing for the community. First you, because you brought me here, so I have to thank you personally. I want to thank all of you for realizing how bad the situation is, not only in Israel, but all over the world. I never thought that I'll have to tell my kids and my grandkids, you don't have to advertise that you're Jewish because we don't know what's going to be. But I wondered in the last couple of months, why am I still here? I'm going to be 84, July 27. What for? I did all this already. I went through all this horror. Why do I have to be here? And now I realized why. Because I have to tell you. I have to talk about it. I have to teach you to talk to kids, to talk to people, to not to be afraid, because fear paralyzes you and then you can do nothing. So stand up. Don't be a bystander. Stand up and speak. Nobody knows how long we're going to be here. It could be in an hour. It could be in years. Live every day like it was your last day, and do something for humanity. I am so proud of this community. I have been living in Miami since 2005 after a very bad sickness. And I am so proud of this community. You are, apart from Israel, it's the only place that I would want to live. You are the best of the best, and I thank you all.
Tzipi, we just want you to know that in this city, that we are not morally confused. We know who we are and what we stand for, and it is in large part due to the courage and example that you give us every day. So thank you.
Okay. So we have some well-deserved employee service awards, but before we do that, it was just mentioned, Ethan was just mentioned as the president at Don Sofer High School, and he's done a wonderful job, but his term, as happens to all presidents, his term is coming to an end, and my understanding is that there were elections, and our high school has a new incoming president. So Ethan, if you could be so kind as to introduce the new president who will follow in your very large footsteps.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've had the distinct honor for the past year and for the past 4 years to represent the student government that we have at Don Sofer Aventura High School. And first and foremost, I just wanted to thank the students of Don Sofer. I wanted to thank the City Commission and Dr. Mickey, who is not here today, unfortunately. But thank all of you guys for the pivotal role that you guys played in building me as a leader and in hopefully allowing me to build other people and shape their lives just as well and just as formative as you guys all did. So I have the distinct honor for the first time she was elected today to announce President Sonia Dewan of Don Sofer Aventura High School.
Please, Madam President, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. Hi, my name is Sonia Dewan, as many of you may know. I'm currently a junior at Don Sofer Aventura High School, and I have been in student government since my sophomore year. This year, I was a junior vice president. My sophomore year, I was a secretary. And as school president, I have a lot of motivations and determinations and plans, and it's going to be hard to fill his footsteps for sure. But I'm very, very excited, and I really look forward to establishing more relations with the city of Aventura and taking our initiative to the next step. And I'm really proud to be representing my school and everything that our city stands for. So thank you so much.
Thank you. We're very proud of you, and all of us are here for you. Thank you so much. Mr. Manager, Employee Service Awards.
Good evening, everybody. This is the time of the night that we recognize employees who have served the Aventura community for a number of years, and we have two members from our law enforcement community and our police department who I'm very happy to introduce to you tonight. One has served 10 years and the other has served 20 years. One's kind of a rookie still. But when I tell you a little bit about them, you're going to be really happy that we have people of their caliber working in our city and protecting our residents, because they do an unbelievable job, and you're going to hear that in a second. So I'm going to invite James Martin down. As James is coming down, he's with us for 10 years, but he began his career before he came here in the Broward County Corrections Department. When he joined the APD, that's Aventura Police Department, he has served in numerous assignments during his 10 years. He was a SWAT member. He was a field training officer, training the new police officers that come into our department. He was a member of our crime suppression unit, our anti-crime, plainclothes detail. He's a member of our honor guard. He's a defensive tactics instructor, and you can see why. And I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing, but he is assigned to our traffic unit, and he is the leading producer of citations for the last several years. So we're happy to recognize his 10 years of service, and we're going to look forward to 10 more. I forgot to mention, his first year when he was here, he was recognized as Officer of the Year, and not only for Aventura, but also the Miami-Dade Chiefs and the county of Miami-Dade.
Excuse
I'm
me.
going to ask,
Excuse me, Mr. Manager.
Yes.
Commissioner Freeland wants to make a...
I just want to add that I know the officers now outside our schools every morning, adding another level of safety and comfort to the families and the children when they see him. And I heard you say he gives the most number of traffic tickets. I think he does it with a very big smile, though. So thank you for your service. Thank you.
a second officer, or I should say detective, I'd like to invite Kenneth Seeley. I can say I've gotten to know Ken pretty good, going past his office all the time. He's very quiet, understated, but think for a minute, if you're in trouble, he's going to get you. He came to us before he came to Aventura. He served in the United States Army and was honorably discharged and came to us in 2004. He was also a member of our crime suppression unit, or our plainclothes unit, but his heart, I think, really took him into investigations where he's done most of his serious work in this department. He's currently assigned as the specialized and financial crimes unit in our department, which is one of the top ones in Dade County. He's considered a true expert in this field. He's worked with the Secret Service, Homeland Security. He's been honored by the PBA, Law Enforcement Foundation, the FBI, and I have to tell you, I'm going to just read off some of his accomplishments over the last 20 years. He's been the Officer of the Month 22 times. He's been Officer of the Year once. He's been the Miami-Dade PBA Investigator of the Year 2 times. He's been recognized as the International Fraud Investigator of the Year also, which is a really high honor. And like I said, he does so much good helping people who get ripped off by identity fraud. And like if he's after you, you're in trouble. So I'd like to recognize Ken's 20 years. It's a gold watch. Right. The only way he gets a gold watch is if he sees it. Thought that was going to be a credit card. Thanks, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you both for your service. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. So, believe it or not, that was page 1 of the agenda. There's 4 more pages. They're going to go much faster, I can guarantee you that. But that was really nice. I mean, that was a great hour and 15 minutes. So we're now on the consent agenda. I'm going to ask if anyone needs to remove an item. If not, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda. Commissioner Cruz, seconded by Commissioner Bloom. And I'm going to ask for a vote.
Commissioner Friedland?
Yes?
Commissioner Joel? Yes. Commissioner Cruz?
Yes.
Commissioner Stern?
Yes.
Commissioner Bloom?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dr. Marks?
Yes.
And Mayor Weinberg?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, first reading ordinances. Madam Clerk, if you could read item 8.
An ordinance of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances of Chapter 2 Administration, Article 3 Advisory Boards, by repealing Division 6 Art and Public Places Advisory Board, providing for conflict, severability, codification, and an effective date.
I need a motion to approve. Commissioner Bloom, a second. Commissioner Cruz. Mr. Manager?
Mayor, like the ordinance says, we're dissolving this board as it has been very inactive over several years. And if there comes a time that we do need to do it again, we can always bring it back.
Okay, any commissioner questions, comments? Anyone from the public on this specific item talking about this Art and Public Places Advisory Board. Seeing none, I'll close it for public comment and ask for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Joel,
Yes.
Commissioner Cruz,
Yes.
Commissioner Stern.
Yes.
Commissioner Bloom,
Yes.
Commissioner Friedland,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dr. Marks.
Yes.
And Mayor Weinberg.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay, second readings. I'll ask Madam Clerk to read item 9.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending Chapter 1, General Provisions of the City of Aventura Code of Ordinances to create Section -122, urinating or defecating in plain view and public places prohibited, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, I need a motion to approve. Commissioner Stern, seconded by Commissioner Bloom. Mr. Manager?
I think this ordinance is fairly self-explanatory, but it's hard to believe there was never an ordinance like this in the city, and being that we want to keep our city as nice as it is now, we require it.
Okay, any member of the commission comments, questions? Nope. Any member of the public on this specific item? Seeing none, close it and ask for a vote.
Commissioner Cruz,
Yes.
Commissioner Stern.
Yes.
Commissioner Bloom,
Yes.
Commissioner Friedland,
Yes.
Commissioner Joel,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dr. Marks.
Yes.
And Mayor Weinberg.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay, we're up to number 11, and this is reports. If any commissioners have anything to report on, or the manager, the attorney, or the clerk. So I just want to indicate, I know that the city attorney has a report, but I want to just say that I put the scooters on here just to remind us that that's something we're going to be working on. I don't know if you've been receiving the emails I've been receiving, and I don't know if you've been walking the sidewalks and almost getting run over the way I've been almost getting run over, but we've got a serious issue with e-bikes and electric scooters silently flying down the sidewalks. And there was a fatality in Key Biscayne. I want to act before we have one here. I know that Sunny Isles just created a registration process. We talked about this in the workshop. I know that the chief is working on finding ways to alleviate this problem. It's great if people use other means than motor vehicles. And I also understand why people would be scared to have their bikes and scooters on the streets. But sidewalk, the second word in that is walk. And these are people without helmets on either. It's a danger to themselves as well. So this is something that is a work in progress, and we're going to find a way to get people to ride them responsibly with consequences if they don't. So we have a couple people. Commissioner Bloom, you hit your button, so you get to go first.
So I just wanted to mention really quick that we have a resident in the audience that was affected by the scooters, that was actually hit, and is very willing to work with the city on a volunteer basis to offer support in any capacity. So I would encourage the resident to speak with the city manager to figure out how we can make this something that residents can get involved in solving.
Thank you, and he's welcome to speak in item 12, public comment, which I think he will. Yes, Commissioner Friedland.
So I want to say, I do agree that there is some significant safety concerns with the speed at which these scooters can ride and move and without people wearing helmets. But I drive in the mornings to school, to 2 schools, and I want everyone to understand that we are going into summer vacation. And in the mornings, I see more than 50, that's an exaggeration. I see more than 30 kids in our city every single school morning riding them to the schools. Sometimes they're not motorized scooters, majority of them are, they're the high school kids. I see them in the afternoons. I think we have to be cautious about how we limit them as well, because they are obviously making it feasible for kids to get to our schools. And we don't have buses for everyone, and not every parent can drive them. So I think we need to balance that. And if we look at this only in the summertime months, we're not going to be taking that into consideration, that this is the means of transportation for a significant portion of our population. Thank you.
I don't think anybody was suggesting not allowing them. The idea is they have to ride responsibly. If they're under 18, is it under 18, Chief, or 16? If they're under 16, they have to have on a helmet. They are not. And they can't fly down the sidewalk at 40 miles an hour. And it's literally happens to me every morning. They come behind me. I can't hear them coming because it's electric. And they don't warn me. The law says they have to say that I'm approaching, or on your left or on your right. They don't. If I were to move left or right suddenly, the collision would be catastrophic, I can tell you that. So I took pictures last week, actually, of the bikes and the scooters at the high school. It's one of the things, as we build our new school, we have to think of. There aren't enough racks. Many of the kids are getting to school that way. It's fantastic, actually. That means we have a neighborhood school. It's wonderful. But they have to ride responsibly, just like when you give a driver's license to a 16-year-old, no one is saying you can't drive a car. They're saying you have to follow the rules. I saw in the news tonight, they indicated the new program where the cameras on the buses for people that don't stop when the bus is stopped and the stop sign comes out, now it's just like the red light cameras. It's a failure to stop for a bus camera. It's a $200 ticket with video of you, of the individual not stopping. We have to make sure that the kids are safe. Okay, so other reports. Mr. Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, as you know, you are required to meet in public when you convene, but there are some exceptions. And one is to call an executive session if there is litigation against the city. And we received a notice of appeal from Promenade, and that allows me to request an executive session. Just so you know, the Promenade was a situation where the entity was cited for operating an illegal short-term vacation rental in the city. And the process had to play out, and now we're at the appellate stage. So Promenade filed a lawsuit or an appeal, and tomorrow we're going to be speaking with lawyers from Promenade. They're going to offer a settlement. And the best way of handling this is to present the settlement to you in this executive session. And the executive session will be at the end of your, on May 16th, you have a workshop and you have a special commission meeting and I think a governing board meeting. So we're scheduling the executive session for May 16th at noon. Members who can be present, myself and two of my partners may appear, but I'm just going to mention them by name so that way they can attend if we need them. Tony Recio and Jose Arango. The mayor and the members of the commission can also attend, and the city manager can. It is reported. There's a court reporter that will be present, but understand what you say is confidential only until the conclusion of litigation. Once litigation is concluded, the transcripts that were recorded become public record. So we'll schedule the executive session for May 16th at noon. And the clerk will post that, and we can have a discussion of the settlement and strategize in terms of what we want to do going forward if you want to accept the settlement, reject it, modify it, whatever.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
For the attorney, you're posting it at noon, but if our prior meetings end earlier, can it take place at 10:30 or 11 a.m.?
No, we can't start it until noon. I talked to the manager about that. I mean, I guess we could call it a little early. There's nothing wrong with starting late. We just can't start early. So
let's post it earlier.
Okay.
And if we're late, we're late, which is
How early do you want to make it?
11?
Yeah, that's fine, that's fine.
Okay.
11, and if
We'll
it
just stop.
happens,
We'll
if it
just stop.
happens not till 12, that's okay.
Okay, so I mean, the last one we did with respect to the pickleball lawsuit, I think we noticed it for 10 and we didn't get to it until noon, but that's fine. Okay, so then I'll just amend what I just said, that we will, the session will begin, the notice will be for 11. If we start after 11, that's perfectly fine.
Okay. Vice Mayor Marks?
I just want to mention that school will be out in the next several weeks, and I would just like to remind everyone to please be careful when you're driving, because now all the kids are going to be out on the streets and on the sidewalks and everywhere, so hopefully we can put something up on our website, et cetera, to just remind our residents about the importance of safety when you're driving during the summertime. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other reports? Okay, if not, we'll move on to public input and public comments, and ask the city attorney to review that process.
Well, thank you, Mayor. So for the items that were not on the agenda, that were already covered, that were already covered on the agenda, this is an opportunity for people to speak on other items. Even though the mayor did speak about scooters, I think we decided that the speaker should be allowed to speak during public comment.
Yes.
So whoever wants to speak about that item or any other item that wasn't on the agenda but it's within the jurisdiction of the city, they've got 3 minutes to make a presentation. This is not a back and forth between the members of the commission and the speaker. Person gets 3 minutes, and then we move on to the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to speak, you have 3 minutes. Just when you come up here, make sure the light is green, and start with your name and your address, please. And you'll see a timer there.
I see it here. Okay. My name is
Just make sure it's green because they're recording you. Thank you.
My name is Robert Ebal. I've been a 20-year resident at Buena Vista Condo and I have been walking and running and walking my dog on these streets for 20 years. And when I contacted you through the Aventura Facebook page, that was after 2 under 12 girls riding in tandem on a scooter without any notice, no warning, horn, anything else, slammed into my back, threw me to the ground. They were going that fast. I'm glad that I had my wrist bracelets on, because otherwise I'd have another fractured wrist. And it's not just them, it's everywhere. I mean, it's like the scooters and everything are almost like cockroaches coming out of under a stove or something, because they're everywhere and they have no concern with traffic and especially pedestrians. Something needs to be done to regulate or add an extra lane somewhere for the motorized scooters and even bicycles, because the bicycles are even more hazardous than the scooters. But these scooters, you do not hear them. You do not see them if you're walking one way and they're coming from your rear. And it's a dangerous situation. Fortunately, I was not that injured, but I spent the next 2 days at Mount Sinai Hospital here getting checked out for my contusions and bruises and everything else. So fortunately I have Medicare, so I don't worry about the cost of that, but it's a hassle to have to spend your time in the hospital away from where people could be needing more. And I yield to that, but the electric bicycles are even more hazardous. I say, and thank you for letting me speak. I wish we had an audience for it that could hear this, but I mean.
Well, you're being live streamed, and it's being broadcast on TV and the internet, and it'll be replayed on YouTube for anyone who wants to. And I'm sure that the ratings are through the roof, so you're being heard. But I do appreciate it, and we empathize with you, and we're working on it.
And if you do manage to, or decide to come up with some sort of committee or something to come up with some sort of arrangements, I volunteer.
Thank you. And you also can always directly reach out to Ron Watson, the manager. He has an open door policy. He interfaces with the police chief, so you could always check on, what's going on.
Well, Mr. Watson's only heard from me for complaints. So at least this time we're on the same page, hopefully.
And thank you for coming.
Okay, thank you. And I do volunteer for anything to assist in this, since I'm a retiree from the National Weather Service for 30 years and everything else. So, I mean, I do want to help our community.
Thank you so much. And thank you for being a longtime resident. Any other public comment? Seeing none, I'll close it for public comment. I don't see any other business, so in that case, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn. Commissioner Bloom, in a second. Commissioner Cruz. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? We are adjourned.